Hey guys, lepedaler back with another video. Today I'll be sharing what I think a basic race road bike setup should have. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. So this video is geared for anyone that's going to get back into road racing as soon as things go back to normal, or someone that wants to take their fitness and performance on the bike to the next level. Now I suggest if you're either thinking of racing or increasing your performance, that most likely you should be looking at buying a new bike, because in terms of value, you're going to get a better bang for your buck buying a complete bike rather than upgrading your current bike. I already made a video on my channel why you shouldn't upgrade a level entry bike. However, if you do find good deals and you can trust the person that's selling the equipment and everything checks out, because warranty sometimes can be a big issue, especially if you're not the original buyer, then definitely go for that. But usually from my experience, I have seen and just heard from other cyclists that buying brand new is way easier in terms of ease of mind and just overall longevity if you ever have a warranty issue. The points I'm going to be sharing in this video are from my opinion and my own experience racing. It doesn't mean that you can't use other equipment that I don't mention. At the end of the day, I started an aluminum bike with aluminum rims racing with a very low tier group set. So I'm not saying that this is the only sub you can use for racing, but personally I would really want this for a basic race road bike setup myself. If this is the first time that you're watching one of my videos, I'd highly suggest you like this video and subscribe to the channel. It's the only way this channel is going to continue to grow and for me to continue to make content. I would love to do these videos somewhat outside as well. So especially with the weather getting better here, in terms of cycling content, a diverse of cycling content is just going to go through the roof as soon as the weather gets better. So if you guys are interested in that, stay tuned. And for everyone that's already been supporting me, just a quick thank you. I wouldn't do it without you guys supporting me and supporting the channel. So very much appreciated. And let's get right into this basic setup. So right now we are looking at a basic carbon fiber frame. Now I've already mentioned this, I've raced previously on an aluminum frame. I started on an aluminum frame. However, this video is for the basic race road bike setup. So I would say if you're already thinking of getting into racing in the not so distant future, personally from what I experienced in terms of aluminum and carbon, I do like the road vibrations that get absorbed on the carbon frames rather than the aluminum. When I originally quickly started cycling, I had an aluminum frame and my teammate had a carbon frame, and when I would watch videos, I'd be like, there's no way aluminum is that much worse in terms of road vibrations compared to carbon. And when he actually let me test ride his bike, I could tell there was a significant difference. Now, that only happens really when you ride a lot. So because we were doing around 400 to 500 kilometers at that time period, you know, you can sense little tweaks and nuances where maybe for the normal just avid cyclist or someone that's just getting into frequent riding in terms of 200 to 300 kilometers per week, aluminum is not going to be that different from carbon because you can't really tell the difference because you're so new to cycling a lot. So I would definitely say you would have to start off with a carbon fiber frame. Now in terms of stem, handlebar, and seat post, I'd say leave it aluminum. I really don't see the benefits unless you're really trying to save grams, which I always say it's better to save the weight on yourself first and then focus on that. But in terms of carbon fiber componentry, I just like aluminum because you don't have to worry about if you by accident get your bike knocked over at the coffee shop or it just gets bumped around in the back of someone's car when you're going to a race. You don't have to worry about potential cracks in the componentry. So I usually say stick with aluminum. However, for the seat post, carbon fiber isn't that bad, especially because it would absorb a lot of the rear road vibrations. But personally, I don't have one and I don't really see a big problem with it. So I would say carbon fiber frame, carbon fiber fork, and then componentry in terms of stem, handlebar, and seat post would just be aluminum. For group sets, I would suggest either going for a 105 or Ultegra. I don't really find that there's a significant difference, but usually when you're buying a full race bike that I've already made videos on my channel, they will come with Ultegra. And if you're going with Giant, for example, you will get a dual-sided power meter. So I want to really focus on the fact that if you get a 105 group set, it won't come stock with a power meter, so you will have to upgrade to maybe a single-sided power meter because power is so important, guys. If you guys are getting into racing or just becoming a stronger cyclist, having power to train off of and to really figure out zones so you can become stronger over time and push more power, very important. I wish I got it right when I started cycling, so that's why in this channel I will be pushing power all the time, because instead of upgrading your bike for like wheels or for other stuff such as clothing, helmet, shoes, a power meter and training with decent power it will make a significant difference for the long run of your cycling career. So I either said Ultegra or 105 last season, and in the past I've ridden with Ultegra and Durace. And in terms of from 105, I already made a video on my channel about this topic, so if you guys want to check it out, I will leave it in the description. But from 105 to Ultegra to Durace, it just gets a little bit crispier in terms of how smooth it shifts, and it's a little bit lighter. But in terms of componentry that you put on your race road bike, I would say as long as it's 105 or Ultegra, it can either be rim or disc. Quickly, I'll say that I currently am riding a rim brake just because it's cheaper, so that's why I opted for a rim brake bike. But I find that a disc brake bike is a little bit nicer because you can run wider tires, so you can do some mixed terrain riding as well. But a rim brake is still very viable, especially if you do want to save some money or some weight. Actually, it'll be about 1 to 2 pounds lighter than the disc brake counterpart of the bike. So always really depends on what type of riding you do. I feel like the majority of people would be fine on a disc brake bike just because you usually have weight to lose yourself. So to really say that you need a rim brake bike because it's 2 pounds lighter, I find that's kind of a stretch. But just make sure that your group set, guys, that either if it's 105 or Ultegra, you figure out how you're going to get a power meter. Like I said, usually if it's an Ultegra, it should come with a power meter depending on what brand you go for. So like I said, Giant comes with a dual-sided power meter. But if it's a 105 group set or another brand that has Ultegra, most likely you won't have a power meter, which means you're going to have to buy one. And in that case, I suggest buying a single-sided power meter. So either a 105 single-sided power meter or a Ultegra single-sided power meter, and you'll be more than fine in terms of having power. So now that we have a power meter on the bike, there has to be a device now that's going to show us what the power meter is actually reading in terms of power. And that's where a cycling computer comes in handy. So I put a K-Edge mount and also a Garmin 520. The mount is basically a way that the computer is going to be held. So this one actually goes on the handlebars, but there's ones that are actually bolt systems, so it'll go into the stem. It really depends on what you guys want in terms of looks and integration. I find that the handlebar one is very easy to install. You don't really have to like torque anything super precisely, so it's very easy and it's relatively cheap as well. And then the Garmin 520, I've used this for the past 4 years. Never had a problem. I'm a really big fan. Very good cycling computer, very accurate. Never had really any problems. So the cycling computer is what's going to record your speed, your cadence, your heart rate, your kilometers, and most importantly, power. So the power that the power meter is recording in terms of how hard you're going, it will relay that information in real time to the head unit so you can see and pace yourself, and that's going to make you stronger over time. I've already made a video on my channel about power meters, so if you guys do want to check that out, also I'll link that down below. But I will be making more videos in terms of training and how to train, so if you guys are interested in that, like the video and subscribe and comment that you guys want to see that, because I'm here to help you guys just become a better overall cyclist as well. The addition of carbon rims on a race bike I find super important. It really is what makes a race bike in my opinion. You just cut through the air differently. Compared from aluminum rims to carbon rims, I've made a video also on my channel comparing that. But in terms of just overall performance, the carbon rims will always win. They're lighter, they roll better, and they feel better. Where the aluminum, I would say, is really good if you are on a budget and you still want to race. You can totally do that. I've been there. But I find the aluminum rim is really more important in terms of training. It's a really good, robust rim that's going to last a long time and not get, dinged up or fragile. Where the carbon rim, I really suggest just leaving it for race day. Now, in terms of tires play a big role. Obviously, this is the only part that's truly coming into contact with the ground. So getting a nice, good set of tires can make a big difference in how the bike corners and how the bike rolls as well. But carbon rims are a must-have on a race bike. Now, in terms of saddles, bottle cages, and pedals, it really depends on your personal preferences as a rider. But mine are basically, I do like the specialized saddles. They're pretty comfortable. I have a set of Bontrager bottle cages, and I ride with Ultegra pedals. But that's just me. It really depends on what you guys want to ride with, and it's a fun way of making it more personalized. And you can test different saddles, see different bottle cages, which one are aesthetically nice, but also serve to really hold the water bottles in place and not, flop around and fall out, which can be dangerous. And then pedals really depend on what cleat system you want to run. So in summary, guys, you want a carbon fiber frame, fork, carbon rims. You want a dual-sided, if possible, power meter. Also doable is a single-sided power meter, or something that I didn't mention, you can get actual pedals that are power meters. But as long as you have a single-sided power meter at least to register power, that's very important. You can either go for Ultegra or for 105 group sets. Totally fine either in disc or rim. Just depends on your budget and what type of terrain you need. If you don't need the extra weight or performance in terms of braking on the disc and you don't plan on doing any mixed terrain stuff, saving some money and going with the rim brake is totally fine. That's what I have right now, and I absolutely love it. But disc is also great as well. The setup will also include a cycling computer to register the power that's coming from your power meter, along with something that's going to hold it on your bike, which is an out front mount. The last parts on the bike are going to be the handlebar, stem, and seat post. I suggest aluminum, but you could also go for a carbon fiber seat post as well. That about wraps it up with what a race road bike setup should look like. If you guys have a different setup that you guys are currently riding right now, leave it in the comment section below. I'd love to get a conversation going and just know what type of bikes you guys ride in terms of race bikes. Always love seeing different specs. I personally find if you can take these principles with you when you're either looking at a new race bike to potentially buy, or also if you're looking to upgrade and you can find some good deals, totally doable as well. Just be careful with the warranty issues as previously mentioned, or buying secondhand. But these principles in terms of what a race road bike should have, I find very important and can save you a lot of money without having to buy, a cheaper bike and then upgrade it over time. If you kind of have this information now, you could plan ahead with, if you already have a beginner bike currently, it's smarter to actually sell that and buy a really good complete race bike rather than getting a semi-good race bike with aluminum rims, for example, and then having to upgrade over time. On this channel, you're going to be learning how to save money and become a fitter, stronger cyclist. So I always love sharing my experiences, and this is one thing I wish I had access to when I first started cycling. So if you guys did enjoy the video, please smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Strava. Links in the description below. Serves as a good way to keep up with the type of riding that I do and the training that I do as well. And until the next one, keep on pedaling.